time तो freeze हो गया.
Acha ji. So, I don't know if you guys, if you haven't watched Mansha's last episode, I'm going to link it up here so you guys can take a look at that video. But at that time, Mansha is very coyly telling me about this boy that she's, you know, liking, who's into food and likes to cook for her. Today, she's married to that boy who loves to cook for her.
Yeah.
How's the man who loves to cook?
He's great. Allah ka shukar, he still enjoys food and enjoys cooking it. But aajkal to we are both so busy that we don't get as much time. But yeah, alhamdulillah, it's all good. We are inshallah going to be celebrating our 2nd year of marriage now in very soon.
Very soon?
Yeah.
That'll be amazing. So how was the first year?
The first year was great. I mean, we've known each other for a while, but obviously, it's always challenging. Marriage is, I mean, एक होता है ना कि हमारे यहाँ बड़ा है कि, you know, couple goals and everybody's like, oh, everything is always hunky-dory. It's always just two people, you know, trying to figure out how to work around each other, sharing a space together, you know, two people who have lived apart their entire lives. Obviously, they've had different lives, but alhamdulillah, he's like my best friend. So, yeah, it's great.
That's amazing. And I believe you were married before as well.
Yeah.
And you don't speak about it that much.
No,
you don't.
No.
And that was also an industry. He was from the industry.
Sort of more behind the camera than in front.
Yeah. And how do you think you've evolved? Like, and do you mind opening up about that time of your life?
I mean, I think a lot of people end up feeling that, you know, if they have one marriage and it doesn't work out, they end up feeling, you know, कि शादी ही, you know, एक वो लड्डू जो खाए और पछताए ना खाए वो पछताए वाली चीज होती है
वो यही है वो खा के पछता रहे हैं ना खा के पछता रहे सब पछता ही रहे हैं
नहीं but I believe it's really about the two people who are in it. You know, marriage is एक blanket statement नहीं दे सकते कि शादी ऐसी है या शादी वैसी है. It's really just about what you make of it and the two people who are in it. And quite frankly, it's different. It's not the same. So I can't really compare कि ये और वो
comparison हो ही नहीं सकता because I think in that phase of your life you're a very different person and today you're a very different person. That relationship probably
the relationships are very different because the two people in it are very different. So फिर it can't be compared.
It can't be compared. But do you think that like how do you think you've evolved?
As
like
a person?
and also because I think कि हमारी society के अंदर अभी भी I mean even though now in our society it's in the mass not so much but in our society people have the courage to walk out. Like women have more stability and surety like to take that step to walk out and be okay with it. I do want you to talk a little bit about what was that time like for you, that trauma of actually going through a divorce, because it's not easy regardless of whether it's a short-term marriage or long-term marriage. It is आपकी society में हम एक paradigm shift ला रहे हैं ना. Our previous generations weren't so वो compromise करते करते वो जिंदगी गुजार गए. लेकिन now people are raised differently. People are have different points of view in a marriage as well. So I want you to tell me a little bit, and I think it might be a learning experience for everybody that, you know, divorce is not bad. It should not be stigmatized. You should walk out when and if, you know, need be.
No, I mean, it's definitely a last resort though. मतलब मैं यही कहूँगी कि it's not one of those things कि I think sometimes people go into marriage with not a very clear idea of who they're marrying sometimes, and sometimes it's कि, you know, आपको external pressure इतना होता है that you feel कि, you know, बस कर लेनी चाहिए, and you're not exactly looking at कि हम दोनों are we two people who are going to be able to create an entire life, because आप शादी इसीलिए करते हो quite frankly कि आप अपनी पूरी जिंदगी गुजारे. Nobody gets married to leave, you know, or to not for it to not work out. But frankly, if that happens, because usually, you know, I got married quite young. तो हमारे यहाँ यही होता है कि हमारी पूरी personality form नहीं होती है, and we go into a situation, and because our personality is not completely formed, we are not very perceptive कि आगे का इंसान कैसा है. मेरी खुद की personality भी अभी पूरी develop नहीं हुई. What kind do our values match? But if that happens, that there's just pain after pain after pain, so then definitely I think that you should take a chance at having a better life, not just for yourself, but the person that you're with also, that they should have a chance at having something different in their life, something that makes them happy.
नहीं, शादी भी सोच के करनी चाहिए. I think शादी सबसे ज़्यादा सोच के करनी चाहिए. Divorce तो बात की बात है. लोग सोचे बगैर शादी कर लेते हैं.
और सबसे ज़्यादा जो मैं feel करती हूँ, that I feel that I have learnt is that you don't just marry a man, you marry a family. So as a, and maybe this is ये बड़ी देसी बात है कहने
बहुत
की,
देसी बात
but
है.
है, it is the way it is that you are leaving your house to enter somebody else's.
Of course, no, I do, and I think like to your statement कि that you're marrying the family, I think I would like to add that इसका थोड़ा narrative change करने की जरूरत है कि yes, आप अपना घर छोड़ के जा रहे हो, but it's a very, it's you are the one who आपकी जिंदगी change हो रही है. जो आगे के वहाँ पे like मैं तो दरिंदे कहूँगी कुछ जितने in-laws खराब मैंने देख चुकी हूँ लोगों के, और जो आप स्टोरी सुन लेते हैं, they need to be the ones who have to be very flexible. You know, but you are making space, you have to make space for somebody to enter.
Not, like मुझे लगता है कि you're either that kind of person who does do that or you're not. अगर आप उस किस्म के लोग हैं कि आप इस बात की consideration रखते हैं कि there's somebody who's leaving their house and this is a completely different person, and let's be open. I feel like both me and my husband, we've grown because, you know, I have brought things into his life that, you know, maybe he wasn't expecting, but he was open to it. You know, the changes, like, okay, he's never had a pet in his life, now we have 2 cats. And shuru mein when
I know you and your cats. Like I remember I was doing a live session और पीछे से मंशा की बिल्लियाँ आ जा, कभी वो गोदी में आ रही हैं, कभी वो भाग रही हैं.
It initially started off when we got engaged कि घर में animals नहीं आएंगे, और अब वो ही जो है ना सुबह सुबह उठ के सबसे पहले वो उनका खाना, उनका पानी, you know.
And I really do believe कि Anna, when you get married, आप अपना independent setup रखें. Like it should be independent. You should not be like कहीं किसी जगह पे नहीं लिखा हुआ कि आपने अपने in-laws के साथ रहना है, आपने इधर रहना है, उधर रहना है. You know, I really do believe that you should have, if you can afford it.
But Ramana, even if, quite frankly, because I've experienced both, I've experienced living separately and living with family. So I will say कि एक तो the guy that you marry, that really matters, what kind of person he is. That's the kind of person he is and the kind of relationships he keeps. You know, like हमने कभी माशाल्लाह से, you know, I feel like I should touch it.
I'll do it for you.
You know, it's
अगर ना लकड़ मेरे तो सर पे मार दिया करो.
कि हमने कभी किसी से अपने मसले नहीं डिस्कस किए, घर में किसी से नहीं. मैंने कभी अपनी अम्मी के पास नहीं गई, अपनी बहन या अपनी दोस्तों के पास भी कि ओ, and this was right from the start where we got together कि ओ अच्छा ये हुआ है, अब मैं क्या करूं. Neither does he. We don't involve external people into our relationship. We try to work out the problems, and alhamdulillah we've been able to do it. कोई इतना alhamdulillah मसला भी नहीं हुआ कि हम खुद ही ना solve
कर सकें.
But because a lot of people do that, then everybody feels like we have a right to have an opinion.
No, and what also really matters is कि, I mean, I think कि, like, I mean, I'm not married, but I have a lot of friends who are married, and I see all sorts of marriages. You know, all sorts of different types of marriages, and they're not like cookie cutter. And what I kind of started to understand was that it is actually one of those relationships that you have the autonomy to design for yourself. You are not bound by a box कि ये शादी is what it should look like. It should be between two people. Now there are, I mean, like, I'm sorry, आप like whether you think it's बेहयाई या जो भी है, मैं जो बातें कहूँगी ये reality है, पाकिस्तान में exist करती हैं. Agree करना आप करें, नहीं करना ना करें, है ये सही. But I mean, there are part-time marriages, there are open marriages, there are nuclear marriages, there are all sorts of marriages. You know what I mean? It's like people are designing what works for them. And then there are marriages that jo, like, I mean, I've seen people who got married really young, high school sweethearts, 20 years down, changed as people. Completely changed as people. So it's not like the love went away, nothing went away. Their goals are no longer aligned. So they parted ways. Yes, it's painful because there are kids involved. There is an entire family breaking apart. But, like, I mean, also, I remember कि जब Bill Gates and Melinda Gates were getting divorced, and people are like, how could they get divorced after this many years of marriage? I'm like, maybe their final goals in the next phase of their lives, they don't fit in anymore. And it is very likely. हो सकता है, और अगर आप space दे लोगों को to grow on their own, unless you're not growing together, and you're not giving that space, you will grow apart.
Yeah. I think there's always, it's very important to have a really good friendship with your partner.
Of course.
I think even more than love.